And now I am pleased to introduce today's guest speaker, William Van Duzer Lawrence IV. In a comment I'm sure you've never heard before, that's a doozer of a name. It may have you, that name, expecting to see someone with a suit and top hat step off the walls of Westlands and make his way to the podium. But that would be William Van Duzer Lawrence I, our founder. Bill Lawrence, as our speaker is more commonly known, is the great-great-grandson of William and Sarah Lawrence. And also, in other accomplishments, one of today's most prolific television creators, producers, writers, and directors. As co-creator of Ted Lasso, he taught the world to believe. No small feat. His recent co-creation, Shrinking, features a signature blend of humor and humanity, a common thread throughout his extensive credits, which also include Scrubs, Cougar Town, and Spin City. Today is not the first time Bill has visited the college that bears his great-great-grandmother's name. He's generously given of his time on 2 prior occasions, hosting a Ted Lasso watch party with prospective students in the senior class in 2021, and joining students in conversation back in 2016 along with his wife, actress Krista Miller, a frequent player in his productions. And today, like so many of you, I am pleased to say that Bill has brought his parents with him. We are delighted to have Suzanne and William Lawrence III joining us today. Welcome. On an occasion such as commencement, it is a particular honor to be joined by someone with an innate ability to tell stories that are deeply moving, incredibly powerful, and full of optimism, not to mention just plain funny. No pressure, Bill. Please join me in welcoming Bill Lawrence back home to Sarah Lawrence.
I'm tall. Hey, everybody. Hey, where are the student body presidents? Raise your hands. That was very uncool to be that funny. That's but I count on people being really boring before me. That was unbelievably uncool. All right. These are not reading glasses. I'm young and hip. They're very cool. All right. Hey, before I start, this is off topic. I'm sure some of you are aware that there is a writer's strike out there. Look, I'd clap too, but I'm old. This is a nice change from walking around with a picket sign. That's what I've been doing for the last week and a half. I do want to thank this school because it supports writers and artists so very much. And you guys should know that most of the issues are for young artists. So congrats to you. Give yourselves a round of applause really quick. I really appreciate it. A couple of the trustees, one trustee said for me to be inspiring and one said to be funny. So I'm going to go for 1 out of 2. Here it goes. All right. Professionally, this has already been stolen from me. I go by Bill Lawrence, but my full name, first step's admitting it. My full name is William Van Duzer Lawrence IV. I am, by the way, when it comes to commencement speakers, I am like the ultimate Nepo baby. Right? I would not have made it in Hollywood without Grandma Sarah's huge help. Full honesty is true. I did not have the courage to go to Sarah Lawrence. I visited here when I was a kid, and it was partly because everyone here seemed like super smart and independent and driven. And it was partly because in Westlands, there's a painting of a guy that looks just like me, except he's bald and has mutton chops. And by the way, Zach Braff wrote that joke, so it didn't work. But look, I do a lot of public speaking, but I want to tell you that normally I truly just get up and riff. I maybe tell a story about Scrubs or Ted Lasso or what it's like to work with Harrison Ford. But Crystal, your president, how awesome is Crystal, by the way? You guys haven't given her the love yet? Anyways, Crystal wasn't super excited about me riffing. So this is true. Instead, I'm going to give you the same talk I give to my writing staffs on the very first day of work. And this is true. Hopefully you can take something of it. If not, hopefully it'll still be one of the two. But if anyone gets bored, you guys can just shout out the word Harrison, and I'll hook you up with a cool Harrison Ford story. All right. I was counting on someone to yell Harrison. We'll do later. No big deal. No, too late. Don't pander. Don't pander. All right. Here we go. All right. So you all just got hired as writers on the second season of Shrinking. All right. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the first day of work. I'll start with some bad news. Last year, every writer on staff got to write an episode. But this year, there's only 12 episodes. I made the mistake of hiring 400 of you. All right. That's a math joke. It's the only math joke I have. This is true. We have the greatest job in the world, okay? I get to hang around all day with talented people that I would want to spend time with anyways, making up stories. Man, it's a gift. But there's still some rules, and these are non-negotiable, okay? Rule number 1 is don't be an asshole. All my shows is for real. I'm going to change it to no jerk policy because I just saw my dad clench a little bit. But I'm sorry, buddy. I'm trying to be cool for the kids. They like when you curse. All right. I'll tell you what I said to all the cast before you got here. This is a true story. I always start by saying I have been making TV with some of the crew members here for almost 30 years. The woman holding the boom microphone, I went to her kid's wedding. I like her better than you. Okay? So be nice, because this is a new job for you, and lots of people work on this show, and I'll tell you this, you're not going to love everyone. It's just not going to happen. Making a TV show, we used to say it's kind of like being at Thanksgiving with your family, only for like 6 months. And there's always an annoying cousin or a drunk uncle. And I expect you to treat everyone here still, though, with respect. I especially don't respond to people who manage down poorly, okay? If you treat someone badly who has no power and feels like they can't answer back, like a PA or any assistant, I will notice and you will go. Okay, do I sound like a scary boss? I'm trying to sound like a scary boss. All right. By the way, before I'm done with this rule, this is a hint, this is true. If you're at your new job for a long time, and no one tells you who the jerk is or who to watch out for, it might be you. I'm begging you, don't let it be you, okay? Be kind. Be kind to everybody. Rule number 2, be passionate about what you do. When I was a very baby writer, I was hired on the first season of a show called Boy Meets World. Hey, by the way, Topanga Lawrence, that is from Sarah Lawrence, because it's from me, so you guys are connected to that. Hold your clapping, because I was fired almost immediately. I think it's because it was obvious that I felt like that particular show wasn't my thing. I acted like it was beneath me, and it was so incredibly stupid worrying about my self-image. Forget that the show went on to become a huge hit. Any show that finds an audience has merit and matters to someone, and I'm not lying to you guys, I truly damaged myself. And look, I get that none of you are going to leave college with a thought of like, wow, I hope I get to write someone else's story for my whole career. We all want to write and tell our own story, but maybe, just maybe, we have to occasionally embrace a different philosophy, which is do what you have to get to do what you want to. I finally learned this lesson. I got hired by a TV icon named Gary David Goldberg. He created a show called Family Ties. That was back when TV had 3 channels. You guys probably have never heard of it. But he was the first one that told me my job wasn't to write what I thought was funny. It was to write what he thought was funny. Not weird? And I heard him, and 2 years later, when I was 26, I'm bragging, what's up? Gary and I co-created Spin City together. And you haven't seen it, don't clap. By the way, my youngest son is not in the speech. He finally watched Spin City, and at the end he was like, was this on TV? And I'm like, yeah, man, I didn't just show it to people in the garage, dude. This is on television. So look, with Spin City, I got to do what I truly wanted to do creatively, but that's the big trick. I'll tell you this, it is easy to be passionate when you're working on something that's truly yours, but the people that really excel work with that same passion on someone else's dream project because they know that's their path, okay? That's another great opportunity to shout Harrison. I got him locked and loaded. All right, Harrison, we're doing it. We're doing it. You guys want a fairly blue one or a tame one? Blue. All right, blue one. True story. So Harrison Ford, he's an inspiring guy. He's 80 years old. He's still working constantly. When I wanted him to be in the show Shrinking, I called him up, and I called Harrison Ford. It's very cool. And he said, yeah, it's a good script. I want to do it. Who else is in it? And I said, Jason Segel. And he said, who's that? And I go, oh, he's a cool writer, and he's done a lot of movies and written movies. And he's like, send me one. And I sent him the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And if any of you remember that, Jason Segel's character, which happened in his real life, gets dumped while nude by his girlfriend. Harrison watched it, he signed on to the project, and he sent Jason a text, which is still on his wall, which says, nice penis. All right. I'm so excited to tell that story at a commencement speech. Okay. Rule number three, this is real. Work hard. Work hard, man. This sounds simple, but you will be surprised by how few people work really hard. Look, I can look out at your faces, and I say this with absolutely no judgment. Some of you are lazy. Dude, maybe you. Definitely you, right? I can usually recognize this because I'm lazy. All right, I'm admittedly lazy. I've been a writer for 33 years. I still leave it to the last second. You can look at Crystal for assurance that this is true. I handed this speech in 3 days late. She's hearing it now, though. You guys tell me if she's liking it or not. Okay. Whether you want to be in the arts or not, how many of you out there, by a show of hands, enjoy writing? All right. All right, that did not go the way I thought. Because it is my personal belief that if you say you enjoy writing, you're either a liar or a sociopath. Thank you. I mean, don't get me wrong, having written something, right? Having written something is awesome. Writing is just awful. I can say, this is the first time anyone's yelled preach at me. It made me really happy. I can say all this because I've earned being lazy. But I want you to know that when I started out, I worked like a crazy person. This is a true story. When we first started making Spin City, we worked 47 consecutive days, including Saturdays and Sundays, usually 16-hour days. Gary David Goldberg bought the entire writing staff the worst Christmas present of all time. He bought us cots for our offices since we were sleeping there. It's a true story. But if the show failed, it wasn't going to be because we didn't try our hardest. Now, this is not meant to sound daunting. It's an opportunity. I can say this with absolute confidence. It does not matter what your first job is. You will immediately be in the top 5% of everyone there if you just work hard. All right, only about 40 minutes left in my speech. What if I went up to like rule 30? Harrison, oh! I'm okay with it, but it means you're bored. All right, we were shooting a scene, and Harrison Ford, the shooting stopped on set, and I called down. They said, Harrison Ford has a problem. I called him up. Go, what's going on, man? I call Harrison Ford man. It's very cool. And he said, this is a shaving scene. It's a shaving scene. And I thought I was coming home at the end of the day and shaving before dinner. Remember, he's 81 years old now. And I said, no, man, you're shaving in the morning before work. And I said, what's the problem? He's like, if I'm shaving in the morning, Bill, I got to be shirtless. And I'm like, that's it? If you're shirtless, you'll shoot the scene? And he goes, yeah, if I'm shirtless, I'll shoot the scene. So I go, all right, man, what do you need? He goes, I don't need anything, Bill. I just need 10 minutes to do some push-ups. It's inspiring, right? All right. Rule number 4, someone said this before, and I like it. Be prepared to fail a lot. This is true. Within 16 months, I got fired off of Boy Meets World, The Nanny, and Friends, all in a row. Boom, boom, boom. I know it's insane that I got fired off Friends because I look a little like Matt Perry's fatter older brother. Not a big deal. I'll take it. Look, to all the families here, I'm not telling your child to get fired a lot. That was a special gift to my parents. But I will tell you, I learned so much about how to read a room, group dynamics, you name it. And when you lose the fear of failure, okay, when you lose that fear, that's when you suddenly feel empowered to take risks and put yourselves out there. When I speak to actors, this is a true story, before they shoot a scene, I tell them that I expect to do at least one take that is awful, just awful, like it's too insane, okay, or too angry, or too sad. Literally such a big failure that it'll never be in the show. They just can't be worried about looking foolish. And the secret is the ones who can do that, they're the ones that we all talk about forever and ever, okay? And those takes always end up in the show, without a doubt, by the way. And so if you can lose that fear of failure, there's a reason it's a, how dare you? There's a reason it's a theme here, and hold it close to your heart. Rule number 5 is that social media is not real, and it's awful and poisonous, and it's not allowed in the writer's room. But acknowledging the truth of the world, you can all find me on Twitter and Instagram at VDoozer. You guys are the only ones that know what it means now. No one knows what it means. Please find me and hit me up. I expect 400 new followers. Okay, that is actually it for rules. This is, by the way, this is true. My script here actually says, come up with strong finish. I'm not lying. I'll give it to one of you afterwards. But it's because I never get around to writing an ending. But in my defense, I've also never given this speech to any writing staff. As I said, I'm just riffing, right? But I will close with this. Mentoring is very, very important to me. It's an element of every single one of my shows. You heard me talk about Gary David Goldberg. He passed away. He changed my life, and he was my one of my first mentors. My very first mentor, in a very apropos fashion, was my senior year in high school English teacher, who saw me sneaking out of class to go across the street to Peach Lake and drink beers with my friends, and he thought I was a good writer, and he challenged me to occasionally hang around with him and talk about movies and books and TV shows. And his name was Bob Cox. I named Dr. Cox in Scrubs after him. Oh, that almost got me. Oh, my goodness. And you know, on Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis and I even made all the writers, and that's you all in this metaphor, tell us who mentored them and changed their lives. And I will tell you this, everybody had a story. Everyone had a story. And look, over the years, I've had the good fortune to meet some of the faculty here and to see how inspiring they are. And I suspect some of you already consider them mentors. Do me a favor, be grateful, okay? A thank you or a quick goodbye, it's not enough, all right? Buy them like a cookie cake or a set of snow tires or something. Or stay in touch. But better yet, keep them in your hearts so when the time comes, you can do the same thing and mentor someone else, okay? Sure. And Also, never, ever, ever, ever forget your original mentors, your parents. Thank them often and loudly and mean it. And if you do it in a big public way, you can hold it over their heads forever. So in that vein, Mom and Dad, no longer allowed to guilt me. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for everything in my life. It was all you and not me. That's your script. Really means the world to me. Do the same to your folks. Thank you, Sarah Lawrence, for giving me the opportunity to say that to my folks. It matters more than you can imagine. Now go out there and crush it.